I have some links to put in.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to take a 1 minute just to let everyone get in, and then we will get started. We are so glad you're here. So just give us a minute to make sure everyone gets in, and we will get started. The numbers are rolling in. All right, well, thank you all. Those of you who joined, we are going to get started. Wonderful to see all of you and be with all of you. My name is Bridget Weston. I am the CEO of SCORE, and I am thrilled to be here with you today to talk about why mentoring matters. To kick things off, I am excited to introduce to you the Associate Administrator for the Office of Entrepreneurial Development at the Small Business Administration, Mark Madrid. Mark leads OED, which is the SBA's technical assistance arm, with a national resource network, including SCORE, Small Business Development Centers, Women's Business Centers, and the Office of Entrepreneurship Education. Mark has also served before this as the CEO of Latino Business Action Network, which is a national nonprofit that focuses on strengthening America through funding and supporting the U.S. Latino entrepreneurial research and education at Stanford. He was named 2019 Silicon Valley Nonprofit CEO of the Year by Silicon Valley Business Journal. And before that, he had a senior executive career in banking on Wall Street with JP Morgan. He has, I've seen it firsthand, a true passion for American small business. It runs in his blood, I know, and we are so grateful for his support for all of the small business owners and SCORE out there. So with that, Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you for being a distinguished CEO of SCORE and your distinguished actions in terms of serving this country. And welcome to all our small business owners across the country. I hope you can hear and feel the energy that I have for this particular session that we're having today about why mentorship matters during National Mentoring Month. It's great to be here with Bridget and SCORE and our distinguished mentors, Kat and Chris. And I call mentoring the secret sauce. As a former small business owner myself, failed twice over long ago, I know firsthand the support, resources to networks, to people, to Rolodexes, to capital that entrepreneurs need. And so I can't think of a more critical topic than this one. And so we all know the statistics that, did you know that 50% of small businesses that start up, 50% of them fail after the first 5 years and approximately 65% by the 10th year? We can't have that happen. We cannot have that happen. You know why? Because small businesses are the giants of our economy. That's what our administrator, Isabella Casillas Guzman, says at the SBA. You are truly the giants of our economy, responsible for almost 60% of America's workforce, responsible for over 2/3 of new net jobs. So there is growing evidence that mentoring works, and that's why we're here. And why is it important for mentorship to happen, especially with the SCORE network? You're talking 10,000 volunteer mentors across America, Puerto Rico, and our U.S. territories. Mentors can see a problem through fresh lenses. Experience is the most valuable asset of everyone's career, and mentors often know the ups and downs of the path ahead. With this extensive network, you have agility, you have access. With SCORE for All and One SCORE, you have resilience hubs that serve underserved communities, that serve rural communities. This is the place to come for mentorship. And also, a mentor can help you expand your network. Ideally, your mentor will also be able to introduce you to a variety of business contacts. For example, your mentor might point you towards someone with experience in specialized business topics, or permitting, or government contracting, or exporting. I can go on and on and on. So I am so thrilled to be here. And I thank SCORE. I thank Bridget for her leadership. I thank the SCORE team, the SCORE Foundation Board. I thank the mentors all across the country, the SCORE chapters, the over 250. once again, this is a volunteer mentor network. And that I want to give you all the credit for that, for serving this country. I also want to thank on our side, our Deputy Associate Administrator, Yvette Collazo Reyes, and our leader of the Office of Entrepreneurship Education that works closely with SCORE, and that's Jackie Woods East, as well as our program manager, the fearless Nathaniel Bishop. We call him the Swiss Army knife of our team. So thank you, Yvette, Jackie, and Nathaniel. And also, I thank my special advisor, Preston Harge, and our administrative specialist, Alicia Coleman. And I'd like to end where it matters, a testimony. If we go back to the pandemic, a very rough time, and I know I don't walk alone, but I lost my dad to COVID in the summer of 2020. My mom was on the COVID floor at the same time, and I thought I was going to lose both of them without seeing them again. I was one of those stories that my family was affected. We were in the media, et cetera. And I was supporting small businesses at that time. I don't come from a political background. I come from a small business background. And so I remember during that time, what did we need when we went to the grocery store? We needed the basics: milk, bread, toilet paper. Remember those days during lockdown? And I remember one of the small business owners I was working with, she was an artisan bread manufacturer. And she was going to do something about not seeing the name brands of bread on the store shelves. Remember that? And all she did was she provided that bread to the store shelves. How did she do that? Well, she had just been enlightened by a mentor just about 8 months prior. The mentor that she had, this is a beautiful story because she's in South Florida. The mentor that she had was in California. One day that mentor surprised her at her facility. He took literally 15 minutes, a 15-minute view of the facility. And he says, I have 3 ideas to revolutionize your manufacturing facility, to be able to generate an exponential output for you, to be able for you to pursue your dreams, to create more jobs in this community, to create generational wealth. But most importantly, this passion that you have for artisan breads, the whole state of Florida is going to know about it. So all she did was she secured that capital to advance her manufacturing facility, which I have visited. And all she did was supply those shelves when we needed it the most. And she says to this day, without that mentor, I would not have been able to do that. And all she's doing now is supplying the independent school districts with huge contracts. And she's supplying her breads with the fresh ingredients to our children. With that said, you've come to the right place. We all know you have a choice in terms of your time and where to place it. So we're honored that you chose to be here with us. And now I get to introduce somebody who I admire just for her tenacity, for her vision, the CEO of SCORE, Bridget Weston. Bridget.
Mark, thank you so much. I so appreciate those words. And you're right about the agility that mentors can help provide those small business owners. And we are here, all business mentors are here to help you through the good times and the bad. Now, I am really the opening act for our true superstars. We have 2 of the SCORE business mentors here today, and I will introduce them in a moment. But first, I just want to talk to you a little bit about SCORE in terms of who we are and what we do and how you can work with our services in order to help you as a business owner. So SCORE is here for the life of your business. We support small businesses so that you can achieve your dreams. There is a SCORE story. We have been here nearly 60 years. We are coming up on our 60th anniversary in October of this year. And we are fortunate to be a resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration. We both focus on helping those startup and in-business owners who want to give back, provide, money for their families, or, solve a need and a problem that they see in the community, like the bread business that Mark was talking about. Since then, SCORE has proven to be successful. We have helped over 11 million people to start, grow, or troubleshoot in their business. And our mission is to foster vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education, with the vision that every person has the support necessary they need to thrive as a small business owner. And what we care about is that our client's success is our success. So how do we help? We help small businesses by providing free business advice and mentoring. That's right, our mentoring is free. We do also offer a variety of educational opportunities. We offer webinars like this one, local in-person workshops, and other networking opportunities throughout the country to help you get that education or connect with other like-minded individuals. And we have a robust website on score.org where you can find resources, templates, tools, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. How do we do all of this? I mean, I could not be more grateful to be the CEO of this organization because what we have are over 10,000 volunteers. We have people who raise their hand and give their time, their experience, their expertise to help those small business owners figure out the solution to their problem and achieve their dream. And we are located in communities all across the country. We could not do what we do without our volunteer network. And these are just two of the 10,000 volunteers that we have. And again, you'll speak with two more in a few minutes. We have people like Karen Williams, who's a mentor in our DC office. She has a background in government contracting, and one of her clients who won an award several years ago said, "Karen is making a mark in my life that will never be erased." That's the kind of mentoring, guidance, and support SCORE strives for. We also have Chani Sudana. She launched her career at Google, and she was actually a former SCORE client who joined SCORE then as a volunteer to give back in her areas of expertise like web design, marketing, and social media. And she says her passion stems from the fact that SCORE directly improves the local economy by working with local businesses to help them grow. So when we're talking about help, it can be defined in a number of different ways. But what we really look at as a business organization helping other businesses is that impact, that bottom line on how we know SCORE mentoring and education has helped you succeed. And thanks to our volunteers in FY22, our clients told us that we helped them create over 30,000 new businesses. We helped to add more than 82,000 non-owner jobs, and we helped 77% of those businesses that started in business in that year stay in business, which, as many of you know, is difficult and challenging. Mark said earlier, we need to make sure that more business owners who are the lifeblood of our economy are staying in business and have the resources they need, and that's what SCORE is focused on. So now that you know, you've seen that it works, how does it work and how can you get the help you need? Really, at the end of the day, if you walk away with nothing else, what I want you to know about why mentoring matters is that you are not alone. We are here to help you, be that sounding board, be that support, give you the resources you need on your business journey. So that mentoring, it helps to minimize that risk. It provides increased chances of success, but really it is about that conversation, the peeling back of the onion to figure out what those problems are. And having someone as a SCORE business mentor or someone else in the SBA resource network who has that been there, done that expertise, who is walking with you alongside of you through this journey. And our workshops really supplement that. They are the practical how-to tips and training on critical topics that affect you as a small business owner. Not only that, when you go to these events, you can network and connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs and learn from each other as well. And again, I mentioned the online resources. They can provide that playbook, the step-by-step action. And what's important is that we are here for the life of your business. We want to build relationships with you. We're not looking to be transactional because we know, and the SBA Office of Advocacy has shown, that with at least 3 hours of business mentoring, you are more likely to stay in business and increase your revenue. So I talked a little bit about score.org. You can see these are just some of the things that we have on the website to help meet your needs, because we know that some business owners, have a specific way of learning than others, and we want to make sure that we meet you where you are and get you the answers that you need to help take that next step in your business. So we have a resource library. We have SCORE Live webinars like this with experts in everything from AI to government contracting and beyond. We also have those recorded as well as courses on demand for those who prefer self-paced learning. And then we have blog articles and other things from experts both in the SCORE network and outside. We want to make sure that we have all of the relevant current information that you need. We have data reports and infographics on the trends that are affecting small business owners, how you can, adapt and adjust to those. And we keep those available to you in newsletters on our social media channels. So feel free to reach out to any and all of those things. And Mark talked about COVID. I appreciate that story that we know so many people were affected, whether it was through death and illness or that your business was unable to do things the way in which you thought that you should be doing them or could be doing them. One of the things that SCORE did, we built our Small Business Resilience Hub. And through that, we help not just support those who are looking for PPP and EIDL loans, but help to figure out how to pivot, what you could use those funds for, how you could respond and remain resilient in a trying time like a disaster. And we continue to update that hub because one of the best things you can do for your business is not respond when a disaster hits, but be ready and be proactive and have that plan so that when it does hit, because it is a when, not an if, that something will happen and something will go wrong, you feel ready and prepared. So I would encourage you to check that out, and you can see 2 of the examples that had used SCORE throughout that particular disaster and have found success because of that. Mark also mentioned SCORE for All. We know that small business owners have a lot in common. You're all amazing, strong, resilient, but we know that there are groups of entrepreneurs and small business owners that have unique needs. And so one of the things SCORE is doing, since we serve over 60% women and over 46% minority small business owners, is to understand what those needs are and help bring together resources, tools, and information to support you in those areas. So we have started to build SCORE for All hubs that answer those questions, connect you with the resources, both inside of SCORE and externally, so that those entrepreneurs have the specific information they need in their business journey. We continue to develop those and look to add more. We welcome any feedback that you have on those because, again, our goal is to meet your needs and be where you are in your business journey. With that, I am thrilled to introduce 2 of our amazing SCORE mentors who are going to answer your questions from the audience. If you do have questions, you can use the Q&A function here in the chat, and we will get to them. So first, we have Kat Shepard. Kat is a seasoned expert in the fields of professional training and entrepreneurship. Presently, she is the Southern California District Director for SCORE, as well as SCORE's Western Region Ambassador for DEI. She is also the SCORE Western Ambassador for Southern California, and she is the founder of Ultimate Professional Digital Marketing. She imparts her knowledge as an instructor at the University of Riverside Extension. Kat is a proud veteran of the United States Air Force, and her involvement with SCORE stems from her passion for assisting small businesses in discovering the wealth of resources the organization provides, some of which I just talked about, ultimately contributing to the growth and success of the local economy. Kat, thanks so much for being here. And we also have Chris Wicker. Chris has been results-driven since he also joined the U.S. Air Force straight out of high school. As an intelligence analyst with 6 years of honorable active duty service, Chris supported collections operations in both the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. As a defense contractor, he furthered this experience as an operations consultant to the multinational military coalition in Afghanistan over 4 combat zone deployments. After 10 years of service in the national security industry, Chris used his leadership and strategy experience to start a professional home management company. And today, as a financial professional, Chris wants to help people plan and navigate their financial strategies through education, objective analysis, and leadership. One of the ways he's doing that leadership is by being a chapter chair in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. Chris, Kat, thank you so much for your service, both in the military and to SCORE. I'm so excited to be with both of you. All right, so
thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to get started with a couple of questions. And Chris, I'll first come to you, and then Kat, you can jump in. What do you like best about being a SCORE mentor?
That was towards me, right?
Yes,
As
Chris,
I was
you start.
briefly looking at the comments.
No problem.
So my favorite part, so first of all, always appreciate the opportunity to sit in these rooms with you, Bridget. This is wonderful. My favorite part about being a mentor, hands down, is the reward that I get from meeting other people that have the coolest business ideas I have ever heard of. I started my own cleaning business when I left the military, and I kind of thought that was like my little narrow part of the world for a while, but I have been able to mentor people who have been in fashion businesses, in restaurant businesses, food truck businesses, all sorts of very, very unique, cool business ideas, and getting to know others and what they envision for themselves and their family is probably the most interesting work that anybody could ever ask for.
That is so cool. Kat, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I wish I had joined SCORE when I was 15 years old. I have been able to be very successful, and I've hit my head a couple of times in business, and I've been very successful in business. But if I had joined when I was 15 years old, and I wish I really had, then I would have been around this great group of like-minded people who help make dreams come true. And, you know, there's a lot of mentors. She talked about volunteers, 10,000 nationwide. You could find the mentor that's right for you. And I implore that you do that, because, you know, you may find a mentor and the personalities might not jive. There's plenty of us out here. I'm the wild and crazy one that says, go, 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 go. And some people need a mentor that's like, okay, you know, I'm crazy. So you may need me, and you might need that person that works a little bit different. So there's so many people with different backgrounds, different energy. You can find the mentor that's for you, and you can find more than one, because everybody doesn't know everything. So think about it, 10,000 mentors nationwide. Find the one that works for you and find a couple of them. Don't give up your dreams. I like it. You guys give me the thumbs up. I'm loving that energy too. Woo-hoo, go.
I love it. And I'll follow up with a question I'm seeing in the chat, but you know, just like you said, with 10,000 mentors, Kat, sometimes it might not be the best fit right off the bat. So start with you, Kat, and then Chris, but what do you recommend to clients who, you know, it may not be that best fit to start? What else can they do?
Switch, get somebody else. It's okay. And you know what, too, we can always learn. Like, again, one thing is that you may be in a position where you may not agree with that mentor because you want to do something different. Okay. And that's okay. We're here to give you experience. And then again, you may want to, it's just like you might want to go and get different opinions, you know, from different mentors. That's okay too. But again, you know, sometimes we have dreams, and our dreams like, I want to do it this way, and I want to do it exactly this way. And sometimes the mentor may tell you, you know what, did you think about this? Because we're not going to tell you no, we're not going to dash your dreams. But did you think about this? Or did you think about that? I can tell you, I'm going to give you a very brief experience. Somebody came to us, one of our mentors, and said they want to sell flies. And I always tell this story because who sells flies? That guy's making a whole lot of money selling flies. And of course, maybe a mentor wouldn't have understood that. Our mentor did. And maybe his friend said, you know what? You're selling flies. That's craziness. At Starbucks, people thought that was crazy too. You know how much money you guys spend on Starbucks? Somebody thought that was a crazy idea too. So our job is to listen, observe, and give you the help and dreams and the help that you need to move forward in your business.
I love it. Chris, anything to add?
Yeah. So here in what I think is beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we are having a heat wave of 40 degrees today, we are one of the largest chapters in the United States. And so we have about, well, these days, about 185 volunteers. And last year we served about 8,000 clients. And so when somebody asks the question, what happens when I don't have a great relationship with my mentor. Let me tell you, I have 100% seen that before and several times, and it happens. It happens about as frequently as you going to a restaurant and finding out that the food that you thought would be amazing is actually not really all that amazing, and perhaps you'd prefer something else on the menu. Hopefully at the restaurant you're going to, nobody's getting terribly offended. The chef doesn't come out and yell at anybody. This is a matter of preference. And certainly when it comes to business and mentoring and making progress in your ideas, there's got to be a strong connection. Those waves have to be in alignment. So I would tell you, I see this stuff happen in our chapter, and it happens with our mentors. We provide, and I should say SCORE locally and nationally provides multiple resources to get reassigned to a new mentor, or to ask your existing mentor to bring in somebody else to co-mentor alongside them. If you feel like your mentor isn't as strong in a particular field, say accounting, and you would like to politely ask them for maybe some additional expertise in that area, all of our mentors across the country are trained to suspend judgment and listen to what you have to say. And if what you have to say is that you'd like to hear from somebody else, that's what we're here for, and that's what our resources are around to provide. So my takeaway is this is exactly in line with what a typical mentoring relationship is. Please ask the question every time.
I love that, Chris. And I do want to emphasize one of the things that our organization has been focused on is what we call our One SCORE initiative. So to Chris's point, it doesn't just have to be in the Twin Cities or in Los Angeles. It can be that Chris is working with Kat and they are, halfway across the country, but we're making sure, and your mentors are committed to getting you the best people and resources for you, whatever your business needs. So that's great. Chris, one of the questions, I'll start with you. To that point of making sure you have the best fit for a mentor, what do you recommend? How can a business owner or someone looking to start prepare to meet with their mentor? And then how can they kind of optimize that relationship? So we'll start with you and then go to Kat.
Sure. So not only have I done plenty of mentoring of myself, but of our volunteers that we have here in the Twin Cities, we have clocked hundreds of mentoring hours. And so we've had the good fortune of kind of seeing what works well and what doesn't work well. And so one of the things that somebody can do to be optimally prepared for their first mentoring session is, first of all, take a breath. There is no such thing as a silver bullet in the first session. And so just like meeting somebody for the first time, the first few minutes are just going to be spent getting to know somebody. So be prepared. Be prepared to talk a little bit about yourself. You don't have to have a coherent business idea. I have heard all sorts of just still out there in the void ideas, and they're still great. There's still plenty of time in that hopefully long relationship with your mentor to work out plenty of details and to make that idea a lot clearer. So number one, I would say, is prepare yourself by accepting that it is okay to be a little bit unprepared, and a lot of fuzzy math is always just fine.
Great. Kat, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I would say, don't be shy, ask questions. Keep something to write on, whether you're doing digital writing. Start a Google Drive, it's free. Some type of shared drive where if you're doing Microsoft, then do that. But make sure you store your information and be ready to do the work. It takes steps. There is a lot of, we are so used to hearing all these get rich schemes. And if you're able to get there and get rich, I am not going to be one to stop your dreams if you can do it. But most of the time as an entrepreneur, we're working and we're working hard. And so you got to put in the time. So be ready for your mentor by being ready and being open-minded, but be ready to do the work, because if I'm mentoring or if somebody else is mentoring, there's going to be some homework. We're expecting you to go and do the work. We're going to coach us. Just like you're going to run that play. We're going to be like, blow the whistle. Okay, run, come back. Let's get this done. Okay, did you think about this? Did you think about that? Here's a resource. Go check it out. I mentored yesterday. We ran some plays online. And then afterwards I said, run these plays, get back with me, do this course. And then we're going to run some more plays. So be ready to do the work and you'll be able to do good.
I love that. And one of the comments I'm seeing in the Q&A over here is, what if we don't know what to ask? Like we don't know what questions. What's your response to that?
I would start off,
yeah.
If you don't know what questions to ask, there's a lot of things you can do as far as what the mentor is going to do is, first of all, if you don't know the questions to ask, our mentors are experienced. they're going to ask you questions and they're going to guide you through information. You don't have to know everything. Don't think you have to know everything. You do not. But again, and also to use technology. I can't say enough about technology. Some people may not believe in artificial intelligence, but that's like having a personal assistant. And I would say, go ahead and use something like Chat GPT and talk to it. I'm not going to say that I talk to Chat GPT and ask them, okay, I have this problem. What do you think? And it answers me back, because it does. And I'm not going to say I did it, but I did. But you know what? You can get a lot of information. So ask questions and don't worry about knowing all the answers. You can use technology and you can use our mentors. They will guide you through the process and ask you questions to open up your mind. And that's what I did in the session yesterday. I just started asking the questions and it opened up the session more.
Great. Chris, anything to add?
Yeah, I would just say in my own mentoring sessions, one question has been the perfect blanket question whenever we're at a standstill. Where do I go from here? So if you've got a great business idea and you have no idea what to do after that point, where do I go from here? There's no part of your planning process that you can't ask that question and find some way forward. So I love to start with that one.
That's fantastic. All right, we have a question around, does SCORE have programs that align with the SBA like the Mentor and Protege program? So I want to first say that SCORE mentors are definitely aware of and constantly keeping track of the programs and the resources that are available out there for their small business clients so that we can refer them to whatever it would be, whether it is the Mentor and Protege program, a grant opportunity, or, you know, become 8A certified. So Mark, would you like to add to that about the SBA programs that you have and how it works to refer back and forth to SCORE?
Absolutely. So absolutely. Thank you for that question. And just earlier today, by the way, I was with our new associate administrator for our government contracting and business development area. So they're in charge of all the government contracting and certification. And we taped a one-on-one fireside chat that really is targeting. The basic premise was, you've heard about government contracting, but what does it really mean? And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that Bridget and the SCORE mentors know about that taping that's going to be released in mid-February for National Entrepreneurship Week, because there's so much information to digest. And I always want to emit the empath card. It could be overwhelming to think about all the certifications that are available, whether it's women-owned certification, veteran certification, 8A certified opportunities. But here's the bottom line, even the Mentor Protege program. The bottom line is that the federal government is the #1 purchaser in the entire world, whether we're talking about pencils or paper or architecture or engineering, landscaping, tortillas, whatever the case might be, the federal government is purchasing. Here's what we've got to do, though, here at the SBA, is we got to be more customer-centric about this whole thing. So we're working on streamlining measures. So come back to us here. We're going to make sure that we work with SCORE for this particular taping so you could hear from the sources. And also, we're going to make sure that there's more information that's trickled down to all of you who are viewing today, whether it's about certification, the Mentor Protege program, whether it's about the veteran certification program. And I'll end on that. We've made a major transformation in a veteran certification where we transferred the certification over from the VA to the SBA. And because of that successful transition, all that's happened is we decreased churn times in terms of the average certification to be approved. And now that's 2 to 3 weeks, where in some cases it was months and months. So we have to make sure that we translate those efficiencies over to our other certification programs. There's also other updates to the likes of 8A certification. And so we're going to make sure that we use repeat messaging as our friend, as it should be, and that we get you to the right resources at the right time. I do want to plug our website, sba.gov, sba.gov, SBA like Small Business Administration. So government contracting is there. We also have a online course. It's available 24/7. It's our government contracting course that tells you all about opportunities, schedules, registering on sam.gov, all these requirements that need to happen before you get into the game. So hopefully I've addressed a little bit of that with a lot more follow-up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm seeing a couple of questions about how do I find a mentor in X particular topic or in this particular area? So what I'm going to do first is share the SCORE website so you can see what we're talking about and how you can do the search that Kat and Chris are talking about in the chat as well. And then we'll open it up to questions about, Chris and Kat, what would you recommend that small business owners think about when they are choosing their mentor in terms of industry expertise? So first, I'm going to share that we have this tool called Mentor Matchmaker, because we know 10,000 mentors can sound pretty overwhelming. So what we do is, as you scroll here, you can set your preferences to find a good match. So you can say location's important because you want to meet with someone close to you, or you have a business and need to know local regulations, and so location does matter. We obviously want to care about your language that you speak or prefer to use. You can search by industry or industries that your business will be in, as well as how do you like to meet? Email, phone, video, in person. And then what areas are you looking for in a mentor? We talked about accounting, bookkeeping, whatever those areas are. Once you fill that form out, this See My Matches page will provide you with mentor profiles that fit that criteria. So we recommend using that if that is the way you would prefer. You can also search by keyword or use the live chat feature, see it down here at the bottom, to chat with a representative about how to find your mentor. The other way to do it is to simply go to how it works and put in your zip code and request a business mentor because you're not sure exactly what you need. That will go to someone who is the client intake person who looks at what questions you might have and tries to pair you with the best mentor. But that's why it matters that if that first person isn't exactly the best fit for whatever reason, maybe you've clarified your business, maybe it's not a good fit from a personality perspective, you go back to SCORE and you say, that wasn't a great fit, can I please have someone else? So however you initially start your session, that's how you would then go back and say, I'd really like to try to find someone else who can meet my needs, because with 10,000 mentors, I guarantee you, we have a person that can help answer your questions and get you on that journey. Chris, any other suggestions when people are searching for their mentor, what they should consider and looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thank you for repeating the question, because this chat here on the side, this is like the greatest distraction. I could do that all day, just responding to people. So back at the camera, one of the most important things that you can think about when you submit a mentoring request is to maybe suspend some of your own judgment and kind of preconceived notions. For example, a lot of people come to our local chapter because they're looking for money from grants or from loan programs, when in fact, when we talk to them, it turns out that their biggest need is actually still in the planning phase, or maybe it's still working out a cash flow projection a year from now or 2 years from now. And so it's possible that you can think that your biggest need is one thing, but on review from a local business expert, it may not be that thing. And so a lot of people asking for mentoring for the first time might want to be prepared to just kind of go back to square one and talk about what you would like to do and how you would like to do it. And together with your mentor, figure out a really great way forward.
Awesome. Thank you. Kat, anything you want to add? I know you're busy in the chat too. I appreciate both of you helping make sure we get those resources in the hands of the people that need them.
Absolutely. I put up the government contracting classes for the SBA. And in addition to that, I put the business plans. And I like to talk about the business plan a little bit because I agree with Chris. A lot of times people come and what they want is give me some money. I want a grant. I want a loan. And again, it's great, but sometimes there's things that precede that. And I say all the time, this information, you have this great dream in your head, but you haven't put it down on paper. And sometimes when you go to the bank, what they want is they want a business plan. Now, in some cases, I found recently, some of our partners or small partners, they don't want a business plan because they want your assets. Right? They don't worry about it because they'll take that because they know that you have a house or you have equity in your home, so they don't worry about it. But us as business professionals, we're going to say, you know what? I don't want you to lose your money. I want you to create a roadmap where you know specifically what your day-to-day operations are going to be. Your long-term decisions are dictated by your business plan, that you have clear objectives and goals. I have personally saw somebody say, oh my God, I've been waiting my whole life to do my business dream. And I have this $200,000 and I'm going to take all this money that I've saved and put into the business. And everybody was crying because like, oh my gosh, she's going to do a dream. And I was crying because I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to do that dream, because she wasn't ready. And as time predicted, she went without that advice and lost all of that money. And I have seen that several times. So when you come in and you suspend your judgment, then you'll be able to hear, okay. And again, sometimes you got to go for your dreams. I slept in my car when my husband didn't believe in what I was doing to start my dreams. So you have to balance listening to people compared to what your dreams are. But at least you got to have something written down or something solid that says, here are my goals and here are my objectives. So when the wind blows, you won't go wherever that is, because you know your numbers, you know what's going on. You won't sign a contract for years when you don't have enough money to fulfill that and waste your money on rent or renting a space.
Well, that question actually ties into a question I'm seeing in the chat. And so Chris, I'll start with you, but sometimes people have more than one idea, right? So one person has 3 different ideas, and to that person, it feels like it ties together at least 2. How can a mentor help either narrow down or tie everything together and make things make sense so that they're not going off and doing a bunch of different things?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that we're talking about this. This was a recent mentee of mine who called me with 3 different business ideas. Of course, none of them in any way related to one another. So it was a really great, like, wide field to start with. And, you know, a good mentor is going to sit down and first of all, figure out what it is that you're looking to do. So are you looking to be self-employed in your house, or are you looking to go out and see people every day in a post-COVID world? That's really important to a lot of people. Are you looking to sell something creatively like music or art, or are you looking to produce a product or service that's replicated a lot? Those are the kinds of personal preferences that a mentor is going to get down to and will help you start to narrow that field. And then finally, it's time to have some hard questions. If you've got a really great idea about something that's not really selling these days, if you're wanting to make your own typewriters, for example, that's a very, very narrow field. Not to say it's not out there, but maybe not the million-dollar retirement you are hoping for. And so mentors have their experience and resources to be able to narrow that stuff down, again, based on your needs and also the viability of your business idea.
Wonderful.
I like that idea about the viability. I like to tap into that. Yesterday during my mentoring session, I won't give her idea away what she wanted to do, but she wanted to do something. So what I had her do was go to Google Trends. You guys can Google this, Google Trends. And I had her type in that word. And then I had her, and basically you can tell over a period of time what interest was in that word. And she was actually shocked at what interest was. So it taught her just in a couple of seconds how popular her idea was and how if people were showing an interest just by going to Google Trends. So she kind of sat back and said, oh, I didn't even know that. Simple free tools like Google Trends, just Google it, type in a keyword, you can find out what the interest is, you guys. So there's things like that we can help you with, little tricks and little tools to help you along the way to make your decision, but talk to someone about it.
I love that. And by the way, you both are doing so incredible because more than one person has asked if they can ask you to be their mentor. So keep up the good work. I sent them to the website and said, if you're available, that is definitely possible to fill out that form. There are quite a few questions around the number one question we see at SCORE as mentors, you know, how do I get funding to help my business? And I know that there are way more questions that need to be answered in order to answer that, but can you give some general tips as to where people might get started to figure out how to find that funding or how to start on that path? Chris, do you want to start?
Yeah, so I can tell you from our chapter, it is the most popular question that we get. In fact, we have a whole presentation that we call Where's the Money? And so the need for money is always important and it's always really great. I don't mean to start answering the question by not answering the question, but I would always like to ask, what do you need the money for? It's really, really great to figure out funding, but funding is a very, very critical part of other critical pieces of a business plan. So always making sure that a good cohesive business plan is part of that question, where's the funding? Now, where's the funding? The funding is available in a multitude of places, but the chances are it's not the free money you're looking for. There are very, very limited resources for grants, and a lot of the notable grants in your community are going to be surrounding either very specific demographics or very specific kinds of work, such as medical devices and scientific research, things that you would think make a lot of sense. Now, are there going to be tens of thousands of dollars available for a particular person or a particular community to just take a wing at a business? Chances are not. The first person I think that everybody should, well, the first person is your SCORE mentor. You should always talk to any SCORE mentor about any financing questions that you have. That's number one. Number two, take a walk into your local bank. There are a lot of banks, community banks, that are called community development financial institutions, and they play a critical role in providing business funding. There's a lot of programs. Bridget can talk. The Small Business Administration also partners with, there's resources. That's the point. And so start by talking to your SCORE mentor, talk to your local bank. Your SCORE mentor can also talk to you about some other community partners here in the Twin Cities. We have a few that provide low interest loans. So loans are out there, grants are difficult. That's my shortened answer.
Fantastic. There was also a question about specifically Black or brown small business owners and where can they get access to resources. I will just add, Chris's answer is spot on. And we have those SCORE for All hubs, SCORE for Black entrepreneurs, SCORE for Hispanic entrepreneurs. There's an AAPI hub. And on there, we have recorded webinars, blogs, and resources that point to those specific resources, whether it is loans, grants, whatever those opportunities are. So at least go there and you know where to start, and it's been vetted by SCORE. So you're on the right track. Speaking of our SCORE for All hubs, and you are both veterans. So there is a question here. Is there a way to get a list of veteran-owned small businesses? It's a target demographic for my business. So maybe you don't speak to exactly what the list is necessarily, but how would you recommend a person reach their target demographic? How could they do that? And if you know the answer to the specific veteran-owned business question, that'd be great too. Chris, go ahead.
I do, but only here locally. So if you're writing from Minnesota, good God, you're in luck. Chances are you're probably not, but the resource that we have locally available here is one of my favorite resources, your public library. Most people don't realize that their local county libraries actually provide what's called business intelligence resources. There are all sorts of demographic data available to include what are registered as veteran-owned businesses. Now, it's important to understand that a business may or may not register themselves as a veteran-owned business because there are only certain areas where that would help you, for example, government contracting. So a lot of businesses, like my cleaning company, when I ran that, we didn't label ourselves with any entity as a veteran-owned business. Now, if you're looking for specific demographics in general, if you know that your target market is females with a college education over the age of 35 with at least 2 kids, first of all, if you've narrowed it down that far, you are doing an excellent job in your business planning. And if you want to try and find people, A, start with your public library. B, there may also be local resources available for certain kinds of groups. For example, veterans groups here in the Twin Cities have a list of veteran-owned businesses. There are single mother organizations that we have here in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And so again, I'm going to keep hitting this home. Talk to your SCORE mentor about what exactly it is you're trying to achieve. If you can't find your demographic, then you've got a marketing question. And I love this question. It's time to know your customer and start marketing to them, and they will find you.
Awesome. Love it. Just to clarify, we keep talking about you can find a mentor anywhere. They don't necessarily have to be in your state. There are 2 questions, and I'll just quickly clarify. One, yes, many of our mentors use Zoom or Google, whatever the tool is that works best for you and your mentor. Those are available, so you don't have to be in person, although some people do prefer in person. And another question was, basically, why would I get someone in my state, or what are the benefits? So Chris and Kat, I'll look to you, but I'll just start with, there are local business regulations and rules. And so it does help when you are in various stages of your business to understand how that works from where you're from. Also, if you like to network in person, it's great to be connected to a SCORE mentor because they are connected in their communities. There are definitely benefits to connecting with someone in your local community. Chris, did you want to add something?
No, so yes, because I'm talking. Yes, there is something I'd like to add. One of the questions that I saw here somewhere in the chat, by the way, this is like working in a restaurant again. There's like all this different stuff happening. It's very exciting. So somebody was asking about what about the arts field? Very, very, very difficult. First of all, I will tell you right now, it is challenging, not impossible, but we have limited resources in terms of SCORE mentors that have a specific background in creative work. In particular, artists that are painting artists, sculpting artists, clothing, fashion design, things like that. So that list is not a very, very long list. On top of that, anybody who's in the art industry, for example, is going to know that their local art community is going to be very, very different from other local art communities. We have a community here north of the Twin Cities that's about 20,000 people. That art community is going to be really different than here in Minneapolis, where we have a population of about 750,000 people. And so there will be valuable information that you will get from a local mentor. I will also, maybe as a bit of a business fundamentalist, make the argument that sometimes basic business planning is the very first, very healthy step you can make in creating a good, viable, long-term business. And maybe you can start your path or start your investigation on this business idea with a more generalist SCORE mentor that can help you figure out what is a target market, what does a business plan look like, and how do I figure out what my cash flows are going to look like. If you're an artist, for example, you need to anticipate how many paintings you need to be able to sell. And I use that only as an example, but it's a mentee that I've had here. How many paintings do I need to sell in a year to make this much money if I'm selling the paintings for $300 versus $3,000? That's a business question, and any SCORE mentor can help you with that.
Awesome. And that is a question that I will just make sure we tie in here. Can a SCORE mentor guide me or teach me with how to build consistent revenue in order to restart the business? So that ties to what you were talking about, Chris. Anything, Kat, you'd like to add to that general question?
Yeah, I just want to also say, I did put a link in there. Google changed, made it easy to find women-owned business, veteran-owned business, Black-owned business, things like that. So there's identifiers now in there so that you can actually do Google search and find them, so it improves the local search. Another tool I'm going to leave in a few minutes, it's a free tool that you can use, and that is it is a keyword tool. I'm just going to give you that tool also so that you guys can actually find ways to actually improve your marketing, things like that. So I'll leave that tool also. There's a lot of strategies that mentors will help you with to move you along so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel or learn something the hard way. Mentoring is about, and that's what we're here to talk about. Mentoring is about doing things so that you don't have to learn the hard. Why would you not get a couple of mentors and learn? I mean, this group of people are lifelong learners. They do this, and it costs a lot of money to get mentoring, right? No, it's free. It's absolutely free to get this. We do not charge because we're in business nerds and we love this. So why not take advantage of it? We have a great database. If somebody has a question, I could type in laundromat and find everybody who's helped with laundromats and everybody who's has that tag word in their profile. Our database is vast. It's across the nation. I could type that in. There's no other, and I'm not just bragging because I'm part of SCORE. There's nobody else who has that kind of database who could tie into these people and find out this kind of help. So definitely, absolutely get you more than one of those. Get you some of these mentors, because you need more than one usually. So you may have one that helps with this, and one that helps with accounting, one that helps with your business plan, one that helps with marketing. We don't know everything, but again, find those mentors and tap into what we have and be open-minded. There's some strategies and sounding boards give you new ideas to sound out your new ideas. We give you critical, unbiased feedback that your family may not even think about giving you.
That's a great point, Kat. And one of those things, I know you both are active in social media, but one of the questions is, which social media space would you advocate businesses to join for additional support? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, can I ask a follow-up? Are you saying for the support of the business owner?
Yes, to support the business owner, whether it is, a networking group or resources, any kind of social media space. And Emo, if you want to add in additional information in the chat, feel free. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes, and I see that question. And so if the point is to do a little bit of online networking, then I would say playing it by the numbers. Facebook has the highest number of groups and attendees of such groups. And so if you wanted to network with other business owners and get ideas and share thoughts on things, Facebook is definitely the place to go. And you'll find those groups from chambers of commerce all the way down to your very, very local level on Facebook is, again, it's the most populated place. And so I would expect that that's where you would get the most bang for your buck. Facebook there. And again, you can search by industry or you can just search for general small business. Trust me, there's a lot of people out there gigging it in the small business space and they've all got thoughts to share.
Awesome. Kat, what would you like to add?
I like to add to that. There's a book that I read years ago called Never Eat Alone, and it changed my life. And I'm gonna give you the short so that you can, think about it. The premise is that you always have to eat, so never eat alone. So when I was out there, I was trying to reach my customers in my business. I was knocking on doors and having one-on-one meetings. And I was like, oh my God, this was taking too long because people would cancel appointments and things like that, right? Well, I really think, and this is my big thought for you, I want you to imagine that you want to find other businesses that are probably not competitive to you, that have a like audience, and build your own network. You should be the star of your show. Of course, you could be a bit player and a walk-on actor in somebody else's life, but you can create your own network. And what do I mean by that? If I was a wedding photographer and my target was brides, I would find other businesses who have brides and basically partner with them and do things like share information, share lists, because I would have to trust them though. You have to trust these people. So again, who are your alliance partners? There's an action item that you can walk away with right now. Who are 10 businesses who have like-minded audiences that you could connect to? Now you guys can get on each other's social media and now you could talk. So if I had 10 people who had an audience of just 1,000, that's a small number, but just 1,000, guess what? If I'm talking on a person's network and that person's hosting me on their social media, doing a live event, guess what? Build your own network and build your own. You could control your fate in this. So again, everybody should have 10. If you could walk away and just do that, find 10 other businesses, because again, you guys are going to help each other and help each other grow. That should be one thing to do, the lead generation, because somebody said, on the question, what can I do to lead generate? Well, build your audience, build your list, and be good. Be good at what you do, because that is going to carry you a long way. People say she's good, but you have to wait for her. I just heard this yesterday with a client. She's good, but you have to wait for her. So be that person, be the person who gets the lead, but again, be the star of your own show and create that alliance partner list.
I love that. And we are almost out of time. And I actually saw a great question from someone visiting us from a US chamber. So I'm going to reframe that question and just ask both Kat and Chris, for the attendees here, if they walk away with one thing, what is it that you want them to take away from this? What piece of advice or next step do you want them to do? Chris, we'll start with you.
Yeah, my number one piece of advice for anybody who has the slightest idea or motivation or inkling to start a business is start right now. I started my business while working full-time. This is an extreme story, but I was sitting in a tent in Afghanistan writing out a business plan. You can start your journey anytime, anywhere. Do it now. If you're not doing it now, you're going to miss out on the opportunities because they're all there. And everything we're talking about today is free. So get started. I talk to so many entrepreneur-minded people who are still working the slog like I am, ditching work right now to do this meeting. We're all out here still working and doing this on the side. So you can talk to a SCORE mentor while you're still at work. Maybe do it on your lunch break, not like me who's hiding.
Great advice, Chris. Kat, go ahead.
Believe in yourself, even if nobody else believes around you. Take one step at a time. Most of us don't take a plate of food and just shove it in our mouth and be like, okay, I'm full. We have to take one bite at a time. Don't be scared. And I know you are going to be, you may have some fear, but like I told you, I slept in my car to start my business. and I didn't care because I knew that I could succeed. And I got that AT&T contract in 13 states, and everybody had to just look and say, I told you I was going to do this, right? You have to follow your dreams and find, in here, I talked about the last part, but find like-minded people. If you surround yourself with people who are, you can't do this, or people who are not trying to achieve the goals you're trying to achieve, they're not going to have the same mindset as you. So change your mindset. Change your mindset by surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Chris and Kat, thank you both. If there were one thing I would ask people to take away, it would be that SCORE is here for you, and the breadth and depth of the experience and expertise we have someone that can help you on your business journey. So take a look at our website, reach out. We know that our mentoring works because our mentors are here. They are certified, they have the experience, and they are doing this because they want you to succeed. Again, Chris, Kat, thank you so much. Mark, thank you so much for hosting us. All of you, thank you for taking the time to be here today, and we wish you the best of luck and hope to talk to many of you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.